In this video we're going to talk about copywriting and basically how to tell a story and sell more in the process. If you've ever wondered why so many sales letters, and for that matter webinars and lots of other things you encounter, seem to spend more of their time telling you about the person's background than the actual product, there's a good reason. They're telling a story, and we've been trained since the first time we watched television that stories are just that. Stories. They're not sales pitches. So the long story that you're told, quite often rags to riches or taking forever to find the solution to the problem that surprisingly they're going to sell you about a bit later, is actually a fantastic preamble to making the sales pitch. Because our minds go to a different place entirely when we're told a story. And in the process of going to that different place, our normal anti-sales letter defense mechanisms, for want of a better word, description, get lowered. After all, in our mind's eye, all that's happening is the adult equivalent of Red Riding Hood. And despite the best of the efforts of the big bad wolf in that story, everything turned out okay in the end. So the same must happen with this story, mustn't it? That's the process our minds go through. Sometimes with a bit more analysis. Often an awful lot less analysis along the lines of, I'm being told a story, let's relax. Maybe even not just that, maybe just let's relax. Which explains why lots and lots of sales letters you encounter go to great lengths to tell you a story. There's a classic mail order sales letter which stood the test of time for many, many years, which is highly unusual for mail order or actually any other advert. It told the tale of two friends who were near enough identical. They came from the same town, went to the same college, got the same grades, worked at the same company, except one was a factory worker by the time the story was told, and the other was managing director of the company, if memory serves me. And the difference was that the successful one of them read the newspaper that was being sold on subscription. Which is very powerful stuff, and it shows the power of using stories to promote your product. I'm the first to admit I don't do this as often as I should, and almost certainly that's to the detriment of my sales, and it's on my to-do list to incorporate more often. I do it occasionally, and it works really, really well when I do, so note to self. The story doesn't have to be a life story like the newspaper one. It could be as simple as just relating the barriers you encountered when you were learning to do or use whatever it was you're selling. Talk about the mistakes you made along the way, all the money you spent finding out how not to do something. Very much like Thomas Edison's quoted as saying, I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. And that can be turned around to a time saver for your potential customers. They don't have to spend all that time and all that money finding out what you've already discovered. And about 2/3 of the way through the letter, you perform what used to be called a segue in music, and nowadays it's called a mix. It's exactly the same thing. You use a few sentences to turn the page round from storytelling mode to sales pitch. And the subtler the turnaround, the better, because that way your reader isn't woken up effectively or jolted out of their being told a story mode. So the defences are still down and they're much more likely to buy from you. Not very subtle, but hey ho, it's a sales letter. If you've encountered any sales letters that begin by telling you a story, go back to them and read them with fresh eyes now you've watched this video. If you can't find one quickly, you'll be alert to the idea now and you'll spot them quickly enough when you next encounter them. Then pay attention to how they relate to the story and how they perform that segue from storytelling to sales pitch. And if you'd like to know more about that, it says click the link here, but obviously it's a video. Click the link below the video and you'll find out a lot more about how to sell without bugging your customers. Okay, thanks for watching.